Welcome back to another episode of the Inquisitive Mamba podcast. This is episode 76. We just recorded last night, but we're rocking and rolling. It's so great to have Kellysalpeter on tonight's show. It's a pleasure. I've known her for quite some time now, probably a couple of years, since the COVID days, since the beginning of kind of how with TikTok started with content. So it's a pleasure to have you on tonight's show, Kelly.
Thank you, Joey. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. I was thinking about it earlier today and I was like, wow, I've known this guy for at least almost 4 years now, which is insane.
I know it's crazy. Time has gone by so fast, but I
I
did
know.
want to let the listeners and the viewers know you are a content creator. You do a ton of social media. We have a lot of fun stuff to talk about tonight. But before we do get into all that, I would like for you to introduce yourself, kind of tell the people who you are, what you do, and take it from there.
Yeah, sure. So, hi everybody. My name is Kelly. Very nice to meet you. I am a content creator, but I also have a 9 to 5 job. So I do content creation on the side. Love to do it, eat, live, breathe social media. So I really enjoy kind of spending my free time doing that. And I like to make comedy videos or really anything that just kind of comes to mind and throw it out on the internet and see what people like and what they don't like. So I'm usually down for a lot of things.
Well, I'm just happy to have you on. I mean, it's crazy. We've known each other for so long, and I've gotten the chance to see your progression throughout your career with your content. You just had your first Billboard, so that was really cool. We're going to talk about
Yep.
that. But I mean, I thought that was just amazing. I saw on Instagram, I was like, oh my gosh, I know that girl. I follow her. She's famous.
That's so
No, but
funny. Yeah, I
that's so
remember
cool.
us from the very beginning. It was good times.
It was. I mean, it just felt so long ago, and now here we are. So I did want you to talk about how that billboard and how that kind of came all about for you. Where did that all come about? Just waking up one morning, you see yourself in Times Square in New York City, one of the biggest markets in the world. So talk about that.
I wish it was just as easy as, oh, I was walking down New York City and I saw myself on a billboard, but unfortunately it wasn't like that. But hopefully one day. No, I was doing a collaboration with a company in New York City and they had billboard space. So we worked out a partnership deal where I would do work for them and compensation would also include a billboard.
That's amazing. I
Like
mean,
yeah,
it's just
runtime.
it's crazy to think about. I mean, you've lived in New York your entire life, right?
I have Long Island through and through.
Now, did you ever think in your life, just living on this earth for you're 24 or 25?
22.
22, sorry. Oh my gosh. Don't disregard that one. But did
They're
you
all good.
did you ever think that you would be on a billboard in Times Square in New York City?
Never in my life did I think that was even a possibility. I go into the city probably a few times a month just for regular things, dinner, Broadway, whatever, and always walk through Times Square most of the time. And never in my life did I think I would see my face in Times Square. It was surreal.
I just think it's so remarkable just from the beginning of your journey, watching you grow. The last time we had you on the show, you had 1 million followers, and now you're at 1.4 and you're continuing to grow. Last time we had you on, I think you were around like 50, 55K on Instagram. Now you're over 70,000, and the sky's the limit for you. So it's just kudos to you. We're giving you a nice little golf clap because that's just amazing to see a good friend of mine on a billboard in New York City. So if somebody asks me, any of your friends live in New York City? Any of your friends live in New York? Yeah, my friend's on a billboard in New York City. What's your friend doing?
That's so funny.
No,
Yeah,
but it's
I
amazing.
appreciate all that. Thank you, Joey. It means a lot.
Of course. So I did want to ask you with the content and TikTok and Instagram, because for the people at home who are just starting to get to know you, listening to this show, for the listeners who didn't get a chance to tune into the last episode, I don't remember what episode that was. We've recorded so many, but for tonight, I kind of want you to, take a short deep dive into what goes into your content on a daily basis. How do you plan it all out? What goes into it, because now with social media it's just continuing to grow, especially with your content. You have videos over 20 million views, 10 million views. So like, what goes into your content?
So a lot of it is and this is something I've tried to do within probably the last 2 years, is be very authentic to myself. So I won't post something unless I truly find it funny or I truly find it entertaining. If I make a piece of content and I'm not really here for it and I feel like it's more people oriented rather than myself oriented, I won't post it, because as soon as I start treating social media like a job, I won't really have fun with it anymore. Not saying that social media can't be fun as a job, because I actually do it as a job and I quite enjoy my work. But my own social media pages, I really try to adhere to what I believe is funny and I believe is entertaining.
I really like that answer a lot. But for you, I wanted to ask you, how do you balance your time with your college life, social media, and your personal life? Because it can be very taxing. It can be very, it can take a toll on you with social
Yeah.
media now because there's so much negativity out there. There's a lot of positivity out there. But how do you balance your time between school, social life, social media?
Yeah, so college was very big time management for me. I recently graduated in May, but when I was in college, which wasn't too long ago, I had a full set of classes. I was also working for the New York Mets and as their TikTok coordinator, and I was doing my own social media content on the side. So between that, college life, friends, work, social media, I definitely was trying to work in sleep quite
Yeah.
often. But it was all about time management and really planning out what was most important for me to do when, what could be pushed to the next day, kind of stuff.
Two things there. I'm so glad you brought up time management because I've talked about that on the podcast the past couple episodes and kind of just taking a deep dive into that. We're just having conversations with people off the podcast, but also on. I think time management is so important. I just think it's just how you can balance your time and utilize what you have throughout the day. Like you said, you work a 9 to 5. You have social media content that you have to create, and all your other outside projects that you are also participating in. So time management, I think, is super important, especially for people our age in our 20s. We're fast. We're going. You live in New York. I'm sure, like you said, you go into the city, quite some time. It's super important to find that balance, and you hit it perfectly there. So our next point, though, you worked for the New York Mets. What was that like? How was that? Because I remember on the last time we talked, you did kind of a collaboration with them, and then now you recently just worked for them. So talk about that.
Sure. So I started in 2020. The Mets reached out to me basically, and they wanted to do a collaboration because they saw I was a fan and I lived in the area. And this was prime COVID. So I went into the stadium. There was nobody there. It was not a soul in the entire stadium. I went with my dad and like two of my friends. And it was so cool to see the stadium also because I grew up a Mets fan and my dad grew up a Mets fan. He was at the 86 World Series. So going into the stadium and seeing all the underground tunnels and stuff was like dream come true for him. So I'm very happy I was able to bring him along and show him that. Relations honestly just maintained really well, and they ended up having an opening for a TikTok coordinator position. So I basically interviewed and I got the position, and working for them was one of the best experiences of my life. I had a great team by my side, not only the baseball team, but my staff as well, my social media staff. And I got to do really cool things. Like I got to go on the field and I got to interview players and I got to bring influencers out to the stadium and give them the full experience. And at the end of the day, I'm a Mets fan through and through. So it was really nice to be able to represent a team that I grew up loving.
That's amazing. And I know we talk about sports on the podcast, but I did have to ask you, how are you feeling about your Mets? Because you just lost Jacob DeGrom. Why did I say trade? You traded Max Scherzer, you traded Justin Verlander, the two Jays there. How are you feeling about the Mets? Like, what's your emotional state of mind? Because they sucked this year.
Next year's our year. Next year's our year for
That's
sure.
too funny. No,
Next
but
year's our year.
that's so awesome that you got a chance to work with the Mets. And
Yeah.
for people that are wanting to get into sports or content creation or becoming a TikTok coordinator, because like I said, now with social media, it's just on the rise. Like from before, who would have ever thought you would be able to work for a sports team working in their TikTok or their Instagram? But now, like it's right in front of you. So
Yeah.
what kind of advice do you have for people wanting to get into sports content creation or becoming a coordinator for social media for a sports team?
Yeah, that's a really great question, Joey. Honestly, I think there's a lot of things that people say that they want to do. A lot of people say, I want to do this, I want to do that, but not often do they take the steps to pursue it. And if they do take the steps to pursue it, sometimes they back out as they're pursuing it. such as content creation. Sometimes people are like, I want to go viral on TikTok. So they start their account, they make videos, but then they don't see progression right away. So they stop and they step back. When you don't see the progression, that's when you need to push harder. So, in the same realm as trying to get into all this stuff, if you're seeing rejections, if you're not having enough on your resume, that's when you push harder. That's when you get more on your resume. That's when you do more work, and then you will see results eventually. So that is kind of the advice I have. Is I liked when people don't necessarily see what they want immediately, but then their drive is what gets them there.
I loved everything you just said there. I like to say on the show recently, for some reason, it's just in my mind. I'm throwing the 100 emojis at you, just flashing them across the screen, just throwing them at you. No, because that is so important that you brought that up, because so many people in our age group, in our era of life, the Gen Zs, they just want everything to happen overnight. Well, the success, oh, it's got to happen tomorrow. It's got to happen tomorrow. The views have to happen tomorrow. And it doesn't work like that. You have to put the time in. You have to make those connections. You have to work your way up, like you said. And it's super important for people to really sit there and go, I got to learn. I got to know how to do this. You can't just, so that's one thing that I've really been focused on as of late. And I'm really glad you brought that up, because everybody wants overnight success. Kelly, it doesn't happen like that. It takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, the Mets, that's just so cool that you were able to do that. So what are you up to these days? What's life like for you, for Kellysalpeter? How's life? What's up?
Life's great, honestly. So I worked for the Mets for a year and a half throughout my junior year and senior year of college. And then after that, I graduated college with a bachelor's in journalism and communication from SUNY Geneseo State School, upstate New York. No one's ever heard of it before. It's in the middle of absolutely nowhere. A lot of cows, a lot of corn around it. But I graduated and I moved out of my parents' house. So I got my own apartment in a city on Long Island. It's like an up and coming city, good bar scene. Very excited about that. I got a job as a social media coordinator for an energy drink company called G Fuel.
Oh, wow.
So they're basically an energy drink company for gamers. So I get to basically do what I did. I run Instagram, I run TikTok, I make content, and I really just try to analyze what's going on socials.
That's amazing. I love everything about that. It just seems like you're falling right into your passion. You're doing exactly what you love. And I think that's amazing. And we have, Elvis over there in the corner. We've got Tom Brady. Kobe's up there somewhere. The camera cut it off. But I just think, go back to those people, how passionate they were about their craft, about their career, especially Brady. I mean, you've seen him so many years, and I'm still, kind of tearing up a little bit that he retired on us. But I'm just so glad that, you're doing what you love, your passion. I really try to, instill this into people. Do what you love and everything else will fall into place. If you love content creation, go full into it. Don't go half-ass. Go all the way into it. Sorry, I swore, guys, but go all the way into it. I know. But go all into it. Don't stop. Just keep pushing yourself, and you're doing exactly what you love. And that just, it's just amazing. I'm happy for you.
Thank you, Joey. Yeah, I absolutely agree with everything that you're saying. Push full force.
So you live in Long Island now, in a small little city. You said there's some bars, there's some cool things to do there. Are you a food person living in New York your whole life?
Love food. Love, love, love. But ironically enough, not ironically, but the only food I don't like is avocado. Won't eat anything in it with it.
Don't talk about avocados. I'm getting closer to the mic. Don't talk about avocados. Did you see the avocado clip?
No, I didn't.
Oh my gosh, you'll have to watch it. It was pretty embarrassing. We'll sum it up here. I briefly talked about how I failed my very first time cutting up an avocado, and it was just a nightmare. It was as up north people say, it was a shit show. And I'm living out here in LA now, and so many people say they love avocados here. They're like, "What? That was your first time cutting up an avocado?" I was like, "Yep, it was." So that one right there, I'll take the hot L on that one, but it was really funny. I'm not the biggest avocado fan either, Kelly. Are you?
I cannot stand avocado. It's like the only food I won't eat. And I love sushi, so it really like puts the damper in things when I like go out to eat, because I always have to be like a weirdo that's like, no, no avocado, please. And they're like, oh, are you allergic? I'm like, no, I just don't like it. And then I get judged, and it's like so rough.
That's so funny. Yeah, I don't mind sushi. For me, it's become an acquired taste. I don't like raw fish, but sushi isn't bad. I mean, I guess I'm a generic person. I like the California roll, I guess, and then the spicy mayo, but I don't really like a whole lot of sushi rolls. You can put that in front of me and I'll give it right back to you.
You know, give it back to me. I would love to eat it. I could eat
You could
sushi
take
every single day my
you,
entire life and be perfectly happy.
you could eat sushi the rest of your entire. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, you're living in New York in the Long Island. I did want to ask you, what is a food place that you love to go to, or maybe some place you could put on the map that a lot of people don't know about? I mean, I know you talked about sushi, but give me one place.
Okay, so I'm a huge ramen person, love some good ramen. There's this restaurant called MB Ramen in Huntington on Long Island, and it has the best ramen I have ever had in my life. And it
Wow.
is a guilty pleasure going there all the time because my bank account is not happy, but I do it anyway.
That's too funny.
The food is absolutely insane there, and anybody who lives on Long Island could definitely consider going.
Okay, you don't go into New York City a lot, but I did want to ask you, what is your favorite food spot in New York City that you love and you're just like, I'm going there. I don't care if it drains my bank account. We're going. We're having fun.
Ooh, that's a really good question. If I had to pick a place, probably Max Brenner's. It's like a chocolate place and they have really sick desserts. I'm such a like a sweet tooth person, but they also have regular food too. They have like a what was it, a lobster mac and cheese, but
Ooh,
then
that
they
sounds
also have
good.
like these really cool dessert things. I like Max Brenner's a lot.
All right, if you're Max Brenner's, that's the name of it. What's your go-to order there?
I'm gonna have to say the lobster mac and cheese. That really always gets me. And then honestly, I nothing for the dessert is like coming to mind right now. Usually I get there and I'm like, I have to pick from the whole menu, but definitely something chocolatey for sure.
The lobster mac and cheese. How much are we talking? Are we draining this bank account here? Are we talking pricey, pricey?
The bank account is draining. I usually just close my eyes and put my card down and hope for the best, but usually it doesn't help.
Oh,
So
that's funny.
to answer your question, yes.
All right. So if I go to New York City, if I'm, someday, I shouldn't say someday, hopefully soon, I got to try Max Brenner's and I will definitely have to try the lobster mac and cheese.
A lot of people like don't understand how expensive New York City is, but New York City drains the account. Like taking an Uber just from like midtown to downtown, like at any point in the day could be like $40 for no reason. I remember I went out with my friends one night and we needed to go like maybe 5 blocks and we were all in heels, so we didn't really want to like walk. So we're like, okay, let's take an Uber. It was like $40 and for no good reason. And we saw the
What?
price and then we looked at our feet and we were like, okay, if we split it. But then that was us trying to like validate not walking 5 blocks. We should have just walked it.
You're talking about expensive. I live in LA now. Oh my gosh,
That
it's
was true.
so expensive. Your gas is like $6, $7. I'm like,
Yeah, no,
what?
thank you.
I'm like, what? And then you turn around, you're like, well, I have that bill. Oh, I have that to pay for. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I can understand what you're saying. New York City is even more expensive than here. I can only even imagine.
It's nice having public transport like the subway. I think they just jacked up the price though. I think it's like 275 now, but like each train you want to take is 275. But it's nice that you can get like all the way from downtown uptown for $3. But food outwardly expensive, clothing even more expensive, living, I don't even want to talk about it.
You're
um,
yeah, I can't even I mean out here it's so expensive. I mean, well, I mean here we have you have to have a car and stuff, but everything is just I mean, but I also think too, I mean, yes, Los Angeles and New York City are two of the most expensive places in the United States next to San Francisco up there in the Bay. Everywhere else is getting expensive too though. So it's not just those two cities. I think life is just getting expensive in general. I mean, I don't know. I just think that especially now living on my own, having to pay for my own stuff, you're like, oh, I don't have the money for that. I gotta hunker down. I can't let it drain my bank account.
I think one of the worst financial decisions that I like ever made was when I in 2008 when I was 7 that I didn't like buy a bunch of houses so I could like sell them now when the
Right?
recession hit. Instead of when I was 7 I was buying like gum. I should have like bought a bunch of houses.
I should have said, Mom, don't buy me all those Webkins. Let's put money and let's invest into a house. Try to whatever I got in my piggy bank. Let's put it all together and try to get it into a bank account. But
I
yeah,
wish I was
no,
like 10 years older than I was in 2007, 2008 and we could have
right?
definitely had something there, but of course I just wanted Webkins instead. So
I'm totally with you. What's the average Do you know what the average housing cost in New York City or New York in general, like the housing market there?
New York actually varies a little bit. Upstate is a little bit cheaper than Long Island, just because of the services and stuff that are offered. But Long Island is ridiculously expensive. I grew up in Nassau County, and the taxes like mind blowing when I learned what they were. Suffolk County isn't much better. You could get like a tiny like two-bedroom, three bath for like just under $1 million in some towns,
That
and
sounds about, yeah,
it frightens me.
that sounds
Like
about right
I'm just
because,
gonna be homeless.
yeah, that sounds about right because here out in Southern California in Los Angeles, the average house here is like $1 million.
Yeah.
And that's in, like, we have the valley out here. Then there's other
Yep.
parts of you've been out here before, but oh my gosh, like it's like how would it, I mean, like I looked on Zillow the other night. The average house in Santa Monica is like $2.1 million. How the do you even afford that?
Where do people even get the? First of all, where's the audacity coming from?
2.1 million, and that's not even a big house. I mean, like I think
Yeah,
it's crazy. I know everybody wants to live in New York City, everyone wants to live in LA, but I mean, I'll be damned, that's crazy.
I
Like,
know.
it's insane. Most people I know that are in their late 30s and early 40s are living in apartments because they can't even afford houses.
Yeah.
The market right now is just insane. This isn't even a financial podcast, but like we're
No.
just talking about, like, I don't even know the first thing about finances, but just like the underlying things about it, just the basics of it. It's crazy. The world right now, everything is just so expensive.
We're literally just talking about regular life, and we're like, yeah, it's kind of rough out here.
Yeah, it's like I make decent money, but I mean, dang, that's expensive. Even in Florida from where I'm from, where I grew up, it's expensive there too. Like Miami's booming right now.
Yeah. So, moral of the story: we won't be adding guac onto our Chipotle.
No, because it's expensive. That
Yeah.
is so good. I am so glad you said that. No, Chipotle guac is expensive. It's like
Okay, but
260.
here's the thing:
What?
I don't like avocados, so I don't add it
Well, yeah,
anywhere.
you don't even have to worry about it. You can save yourself 260 right there, and you can go buy yourself a coffee. Do you like coffee, by the way?
So I'm usually hyper to begin with, so I don't usually drink coffee unless I'm running on negative hours of sleep.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
then once I have coffee and I'm hyper, it's just like a ball of like insanity, and like I don't need to visit the loony bin anytime soon. So I choose to like move away from coffee for the most part, but sometimes I'll sip on it just because some tastes good.
I was in the exact same boat as you, and then for some reason recently at work, like we have free coffee. Most work, yeah, Joey, most workplaces have free coffee. No, but recently at work they've been giving us this pumpkin spice creamer. Ooh, that has been hitting different. I'm like, I don't have to go to Starbucks. I could just get it for free at work.
Suckered right in.
Walked into work this morning, Kelly. I was looking in the fridge. I was looking around. No pumpkin spice creamer. I was like, dang it! It went that fast. But no, coffee for me has become kind of an acquired taste. But I'm a three sugars, three creamers, and just, yeah, I know. Is that insane? That's because I'm from up north. Like my family, the entire time I lived up there when I was born. Joey, you only lived there for 5 years, but still, like going back there and visiting, they're all three sugars, three creamers, like Dunkin' Donuts, and like that's not like fancy coffee or anything. But I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, that's so funny when you said that there was no pumpkin spice creamer. I was expecting you to like pull out your 2 weeks and be like, sorry, guys.
Oh my gosh. What are you leaving for? You don't have pumpkin spice creamer? I'm leaving. No, but I do have a funny coffee story, Kelly. This one has been on my mind. I got to share this one with you. Okay,
I'm ready.
so I have like the coffee like grinders, not the coffee beans, but it like just on my counter, right? And recently I bought a milk frother. Okay, I bought a milk frother and I was like, okay, I'll make myself a cup of coffee. I don't have a coffee maker. I was thinking the milk frother would do this for me. This is absolutely disgusting. I threw the coffee like grinder into a cup and I tried to do the milk frother and I put some like oat milk in there because I drink oat milk now. And I was like, why is this tasting like this? I was like, oh, I'll put some ice in here. It'll make it like a nice coffee. It was absolutely disgusting. I threw it out, and that has made me think twice about making coffee at home.
Joey, I don't even know what to say to that. Like, I was thinking of so many ways that I was going to try to defend you, and I just can't.
It's pretty
Not for that.
embarrassing. It's
Not for
embarrassing. It's
that.
bad. It's really bad, but I was excited. I was like, I can make myself a nice cup of coffee. I'll get away with it this one time. So yeah,
I
I know.
I can't get behind you. I'm sorry.
I thought it would work, but clearly not.
That's
Yeah,
too good.
it was pretty embarrassing. All right, Kelly, Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks?
Starbs all the way. Well, depends. Depends my mood. Um, Starbs because Starbs, but
I like how you call it Starbs.
oh, it's up here where I'm from. That's Starbs or Dunkin'. That's it.
That's
Um,
funny.
Starbucks probably like 90% of the time, but I could bust down for a Dunkin' Donut egg bite. Absolutely.
What's your go-to Starbs order?
Oh, we're mocking now.
Yeah, we are.
So years ago when I was like kind of really into coffee, I would do iced caramel frappuccino. That was
Okay.
kind of a go-to. I always can inhale a pumpkin spice latte, regardless of if I drink coffee or not, because that's just how it is. I think
Yeah.
that's just like Americans have like a little chip ingrained in them, and in October it turns on, and in March it turns off, and mine's on. So always could do a pumpkin spice latte. I do also like their double smoked bacon sandwich from there. That's always a good time.
Oh, I like that one a lot. If you ask
Mhm.
me my coffee order, Kelly, I don't have one for you. People ask me when you go to Starbucks or like, I'm like, I don't know. It's a nice coffee. Like, oh, what kind of? I'm like, nope, just a coffee. I don't know. I've just never gotten into like the fancy side of coffee. I just
Yeah, you're like the regular coffee with like 18 sugars and 19 puffs, like pumps of creamer.
I actually am. Like that's the thing. I'm like, and also I'll make the coffee at work, and they have the settings on the Keurig, and there's like the small one, the medium. I always never can get it right. So I'm sitting there, and people are like waiting, and I'm opening it back up, and I'm like clicking the button, and it still like doesn't fill up all the way. And then when it does, I'll do it a second time, and it starts overflowing, and I'll put the creamer in there, and it's just a disaster. So my coffee order is never perfect. It's kind of it's not the
If
best.
people are like watching me do something, I just won't do it. Like at the grocery store, like if there's somebody standing near something that I need to get, I don't even want to interact with that person. I'll walk up and down the aisle until they leave and I'll go get my thing and then I'll go because I'm not like I just won't like because I know I'd knock something off the shelf or it would just be an entire thing that just doesn't need to happen.
Don't even get me started about the grocery store. Oh my gosh. I'll go to the grocery store and talk to everybody in there. I'll just make friends with the person. I'll go to the Trader Joe's here around, like right here in Sawtell. It's where I live. And yeah, sorry guys, I told you guys where I live. You can't come in. Don't worry. But Sawtell, the Trader Joe's, I'll go in, and the guy knows me now because I've talked to him so many times. I'm like, oh, the guy's gonna be here, right? So I'm like looking forward to going to Trader Joe's. I dread going to the grocery store, but like I like going to Trader Joe's because I kind of have like my grocery store friends. I don't know, it kind of sounds weird, but
I mean, listen, we all make friends differently. So you got your Trader Joe's people, I got college people. I didn't think about that.
yeah, I know. I have that thing. I'm like, I'm going to Trader Joe's. I'm excited to see my Trader Joe's friends.
That's so funny. You should get like their work schedules.
Oh my gosh, that would be so embarrassing. It'd be like, hey, actually, you know what I did when I was walking out? I kind of like we were like kind of friends now, and I was like, hey, how was your vacation? He goes, oh man, I haven't taken it yet. I'm going on next week. I'm like, oh awesome. I'll see you next time when you come back. Have a great vacation. The people in the line are looking at me like, who the hell is this kid? How do you know the cash register guy? I
That's
just
like a, oh, how are the kids type thing.
yeah. It's like, hey, how's it going? Like, what's new on the shelves in Trader Joe's? There's another guy there too, and he'll tell me, he's like, you gotta try this one this week. This chili lime seasoning is so good. Or you gotta try our new this. And I'm like, I'll try it. Why not? Thanks for the recommendation.
Okay, but here's the thing. I love the workers like at my local places. Like they know what's up. They're always a good time. Like when I was in my college, the people who worked kind of in the dining halls, they were like my favorite people on the planet because you'd see them every day or like every week or whenever you went. And they always were like, how was the test? How was it? And I'm like, oh my God, you care. Like that's so sweet. So you know what? I gotta give props to you and props to them.
Yeah, well, I'll give more props to them because they have to deal with me. It's just another just weird grocery store customer. I guess I'm a customer because I buy your products. No, but anyways, we talked a little bit about food. I wanted to ask you, what TV shows are you watching right now? What's on the radar for Kelly? What are you binging?
So I started the morning show.
Oh my God,
That's
such a
with
good show.
Okay, I'm only like halfway through the first season,
Okay,
so
I
slow
won't
and
spoil.
steady,
I
but
will
I'm getting
not spoil
there.
anything. I won't spoil anything.
I'm also watching Succession at the same time.
Okay.
I just started the second season of Succession. And then my like before bed show, what I kind of just like throw on in the background of stuff is Rick and Morty right now.
Okay. Little Rick and Morty action. I
It's so funny.
It is. It is. I have a Rick and Morty backpack. You want to hear something funny? I have a Rick and Morty backpack. I bought the backpack without ever watching the show, and people would ask me, they're like, "Yeah." They're like, "You ever watch Rick and Morty? You ever seen it?" I was like, I watched like one or two episodes, but I could never really get into it." And then when I moved back out here, I was staying with a friend of mine, and I was like made an admission. I was like, I gotta binge watch Rick and Morty. They're like, oh, there's a new season come out. It's like, okay, let's keep it going. Keep it. We're Rick and Morty marathon in it. So I watched all the way up until I think before the new season came out. I don't really keep up with it as much as I used to, but it is a pretty funny show. I like it.
It's so entertaining for absolutely no reason. It's like stupid humor, but
It
it gets
is.
like it just makes me laugh. Like it just makes me as I'm walking around doing laundry or cleaning or whatever, and I have that in the background. I let it's a good laugh.
It is. It is. Succession is a great show. You got to finish that. I finally finished that like a couple weeks ago. My mom was texting me. She was like, "Have you finished Succession yet? Have you finished Succession yet?" I was like, "No." She caught up to me. I was like, "Dang it. How did she catch up to me?" And I stopped watching it, but it is a really good one. I love the morning show. Oh my gosh. I was talking to somebody the morning show like about at work a few weeks ago, and I was like, "You got to watch the show." It's like giving like the whole plot of the show and stuff, and I was like preaching it. It's a really good show. I really like it a lot.
The reason I got into it is because I love Jennifer Aniston, always
Me
have
too.
loved everything she was in, and I also love Reese Witherspoon. And then I
Yeah.
heard that they were doing a show together, and I was like, that's such a lie because if they were doing a show together, I'd know about it. And they were doing a show together, and the first two seasons had already gone by, and I had no idea. And I felt like such a traitor to both of them because, I would consider myself like a fan of both of them, and I didn't know that they were doing this show. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden I found out, and I was like, where have I been? Where am I? What have I been doing?
Yeah.
So I felt guilty, and I started watching it.
It's a great show. I love everything about it. I'm on season 3 now. I'm not going to spoil
Okay.
anything because you haven't gotten that far yet, but it is good. And I hope they continue with the show because it's a darn good show.
Yeah, Joey, if you spoiled something, I would have been
I
really tight about
no
it.
no. I mean, I know we're across the screen. You can't cut my neck, but it's a good
You
show.
just told us where you live, so I'll hop over. Give me 6 hours.
Yeah, yeah. And then 6 hours later, goodness gracious, that's like it's 6 hours on the plane, so it feels like a 9 hour time change. It feels like a 9 hour like flight with the.
Yeah, I'm actually coming to the West Coast next week.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Are you going up north? Or are you coming down south?
I'm going up north this time.
Oh, boo-hoo. No, it's okay. You'll have fun up there. I'm actually going to Miami this weekend, so I'm excited about that.
Fun.
Yeah,
So
I'm
we're
going back
basically
to
just
Florida.
switching sides.
Basically just switching sides. Yeah, I'm going to Miami this weekend. We're doing like a birthday celebration for like an Airbnb. We're going to the Dolphins game, so I'm like super pumped about that. I got the time off of work for Friday and Monday, and like tomorrow is like Friday for me. So it's like as soon as that clock hits 5:30, it's a vacation mode. You remember the movie High School Musical? What time is it?
Oh yeah,
Summertime. That's the
summertime.
vibe I'm feeling at 5:30. It's like, what time is it? Summertime. School is
When
it
you
is it
go
school out? Yeah.
to the Dolphins game, I need
Yep.
you to root hard for Jalen Waddle, okay?
I need to what?
I need you to root hard for Jalen Waddle. He's on my fantasy team.
The waddle, the waddle, the waddle,
Yes,
the dance. Oh yeah, let's talk about your fantasy team briefly.
it's okay. I was robbed weeks 2 and 3. No, weeks 3 and 4, robbed, absolutely robbed
All right.
by like 5 points. I lost, which was so rough. And okay, so the thing is, before this, I was never really involved in football. I genuinely didn't care. My dad it was a Jets fan, so
Yeah.
I naturally was a Jets fan, and it's been a rough life. It
Yeah.
really has. I'm not gonna lie. And I
Very.
went to college upstate, and it was Bills Mafia, Bills Mafia, and I was like scared to be a Jets fan up there. So I was like, okay, like go Bills, yay, Josh Allen, whatever. I come back home, and I got the opportunity to be on a fantasy team, and I was like, okay, like yeah, like I'll just ask my dad because he knows football. He's in fantasy leagues all the time. I kid you not, like every night before bed, I go and I look online and I'm like, week 6 projections, who to start week 6. Like I am up in it, around it, on top of it. You have absolutely no idea. I'm requesting trades left and right. Like I really, but then my dad yells at me because he's like, you shouldn't be trading this person for this person. But I'm like, but they played. Okay, so I keep trading people or wanting to trade people who play bad 1 week, but he's like, you have to give them time. Like they'll play. Because I almost tried to trade Jamar Chase the other day,
Yeah,
and my dad saw me like on the app trying to like press stuff with it, and he was like, I don't know what you think you're doing, but you're not trading Jamar Chase.
you
And
can't.
then, okay, I know that now. I'm aware of that now. I get it.
He
I'm
had three
like,
touchdowns on Sunday.
so that's why I'm not trading him. I get
Yeah,
it. Because like Joe Burrow wasn't doing well, so he wasn't doing well, and it was just like a natural thing. And I'm like, if Joe Burrow's not going to do well, why the heck is he taking up a spot on my team? But my dad was like, you have to wait. And then I waited. Now he did well.
that's so funny. I'm so glad you're into fantasy football.
Yeah, I'm
That's
really into
awesome.
it. Do you want to hear my team?
Yeah, go for it. I'm all ears.
Okay, I have it literally pulled open on my phone because I don't do anything else with my life. All right, my quarterback, Joshy Allen, all the way.
Of course.
Then I mean, who else? Okay, I had a choice between him or Hurts, so I went Josh
Oh,
Allen.
yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah, I
then
like that.
running backs, I have James Cook and Brian Robinson Jr.
Okay. Yep.
Then wide receivers, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle. Then tight end, I have TJ Hawkinson.
Gosh, your
And
team is stacked.
yeah, low key. And then for my flex, I put in Isaiah Pacheco.
Oh my
And
gosh.
my defense is the Saints. And the reason I picked the Saints was because they have like an easier-ish schedule this year. So I was like, you know what? I'll put them in. Should be
Smart.
fine.
They've got a
Yeah.
good defense too. We're not talking about that Patriots Saints game, but I love your fantasy team. That's awesome. You got a good team. What's your team?
My
What's your
bench
fantasy
is
team
also
name?
kind of stacked too.
All right.
I have Thielen, Jacoby Myers, Jamison Williams,
Jeez.
I have Miles Sanders, who's like questionable right now, but
Yeah.
I have like decent people on my
How
bench.
many
Also.
people are in this league?
12.
Oh my gosh, you drafted like hella good.
I got second pick, and it was
Oh
snake
my.
draft, so like I did pretty well.
Yeah, clearly. What's your fantasy team name?
The bench warmers. Of
Oh my gosh, have you seen the Benchwarmers movie?
course I have.
Oh, okay. Then that makes sense. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Is that your what? All right. Let me ask you this: favorite movie? Let's go top three. Your top three favorite movies of all time.
Oh man, you're really gonna stick me with this question?
Yeah, you brought up the Benchwarmers, so of course I am.
You're right, you got me, you got me. Okay. Interstellar has got to be one of them.
Interesting.
In no specific order, these are in, by the
Okay.
way. Interstellar. Um, I loved the movie Knives Out. I thought that was
Oh,
such a good movie.
interesting.
I like good like mystery, horror, you don't really know what's gonna happen,
Yep.
situations. And then I feel like for a third, I might have to go with something Disney, like something like classic. I
Yeah.
might have to put like Coco on that list or I don't know, something like that, or like Lemonade Mouth, like a throwback, but something in that realm for sure.
Those are a three wide variety of movies. You got Interstellar, you got Coco, and you got Knives Out. I almost drew a blank there. Not those are three interesting movies, but hey, you have your own three right there. For me, Jerry Maguire,
Okay.
Breakfast Club, and my third, I love Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's a good movie. Oh, you know what? I might have to take Coco out and put in The Hangover because that was
Okay.
just such. Oh, you know what? Hold on.
See,
Super
this
bad.
always happens.
Super
Everyone
bad.
always changes their three. I love this.
I
Super
know.
bad. Super
Okay.
bad. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take out. Oh, this is so rough. I'm gonna give you the four then.
Oh,
Knives Out,
four. Okay.
Interstellar. Uh. Oh my gosh, what was my other one?
Knives
Uh,
Out, Coco, Interstellar, and Superbad.
no, I took out Coco.
Okay.
Knives Out, Interstellar, Superbad, and I guess
uh
those are
yeah, those are
three.
your three. Yeah, you four turns into three real quick.
It
I
does.
I like that one a lot. So before we do wrap up, on a little bit more of a serious note, because we kind of got funny there. What is something that you could say that you would like to get off your chest, or something you've been feeling lately that you would really like to share with the listeners? Maybe something somebody can take with them from this podcast, looking back in 5, 10 years, or just something that, can really, maybe change somebody's life, or just, take it from there.
Yeah, I really like that question, Joey. I kind of brought this up earlier today, but I really think emphasizing it is important not only for myself, but for other people. And that was my authenticity. I really have been posting content that I truly enjoyed. And a lot of times before that, I was posting content to please other people just because stuff got views, stuff got likes, whatever. And I was very caught up in that world. And I started to kind of want to push away from social media because I wasn't really happy with it anymore. But then when I started to switch and post stuff for what I thought was enjoyable, and not even post stuff online, but like do stuff in my life, like when I stopped people pleasing, I
Yeah.
really found a lot of enjoyment in the things that I was doing. And I think that could be a nice message for other people too, to kind of look, and I know this is going to sound all corny, but like to really look at what you enjoy and what you like to do and go with your gut rather than listening to everybody else what their wants are for you.
I love that one a lot. I'm just gonna keep my on this one. You get the floor on that one. That was amazing. I really like that one a lot. That was a really good one. Stop. Nope, I'm not gonna do it. You deserve it. You get the flowers. The last thing I will say though, this was really cool at work today. I guess kind of a humble brag. I was talking to somebody about podcasts like life sports, and I guess like the podcast kind of got brought up, and we talked about it. Later in the day, a coworker walked up to me and said, "Hey, I heard you have a podcast that's so cool." I said, "Thank you so much." And they go, "Yeah, listen to this." I go, "What?" They go, "I was scrolling on my phone while you were having the conversation earlier, and your podcast popped up on Spotify." And I said, "What? Really?" She goes, "Yeah." And like, Kelly, that one like really took me for a loop, not in a crazy way, but just like, wow. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I couldn't believe it. And I told her, I said, if you would have told me that a year ago, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But the way, with everything that's been going and just kind of on the trajectory and just keep pushing ourselves and keep going, I would believe you because just in the last 30 days, a month, we have over 3,600 impressions. And I don't like to say I because it's a team thing, even though like I'm the only person that like kind of puts the effort and time into this, but the guests also come on, so they also play a factor, like you as well. So when I hear that stuff, I'm just like, damn, that's like, I don't know, man. I just like, it's just one of those things, and we're not even where we want to be, but just hearing those things, it's just the gratitude, the appreciation for everybody to tune in week in and week out, and for you to come on, like, you to take time out of your busy schedule and get to hear about your life, your story. It's just amazing. We had fun, we talked about food, we talked about coffee, we just kind of chopped it up, somehow talked about financial stuff, but just, I don't know. I just thought it was, really cool. And I guess it kind of resonates with this here because it's something that I'll take from what you said, the people pleasing, doing what you love. So it was just so fun to have you on. But before we do wrap up, as always, I don't know if you remember from the last time we recorded, 5 questions for my guest, as always, kind of taking a little bit deeper dive into who you are. My first question is who inspires you?
Ooh, who inspires me? Oh boy, this is such a hard question. I have so many people in my life who I like to take a little bit of and just kind of use to, not use, but
Yeah.
make into myself. I would definitely say this is so corny, but my family, 100% through and through. My family are the people that I look up to. I take their opinions not lightly. And also my friends for sure. I really value what they say and how they feel about things. So I'm gonna go family and friends. I know that's corny, but that's what it is.
Completely okay. What advice would you give your younger self?
My younger self to slow down, stop rushing things. I wanted to grow up so fast and I wanted to be something that I wasn't at that time. So just slow down, enjoy life, do what you were doing.
Preach it. 100 emojis at you. Describe yourself in one word.
One word, probably, I'm gonna say sporadic.
I like that one a lot. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years, I hope to be still doing social media. I hope to have a really good job. I'd like to be married. I'd like to have kids, and I'd like to own a house, and I'd love to have a cat.
Okay. Last question for you. What has been the proudest moment of your career so far?
The proudest moment of my career was probably, I'm gonna say graduating college.
I like that one a lot.
Graduating college was probably the proudest moment.
Yeah, that was amazing. It's an accomplishment that you'll never, or excuse me, that's an accomplishment that no one can ever take away from you. I love that one a lot. So many people say, "Wow, college, why do you go?" Well, because I get that degree and I can work my tail off for a company and continue to push myself, and they can see what I'm made of. College, I mean, college doesn't define you, but that diploma, it means a lot, especially in this world today.
Absolutely.
So, guys, as always, that does it for us. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Kellysalpeter. But before we do end officially, you got to plug your socials. Where can the listeners find you? Go from there.
Absolutely. So all my socials are pretty much just my name. So Kellysalpeter, KELLYSALPETER, Snapchat, Threads. I don't know why Threads was the second thing that came to mind. TikTok, Instagram. I'm mostly active TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. So definitely hit those up. And YouTube. I've been starting on YouTube too.
Let's go. Let's go. Guys, as always, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Inquisitive Mamba podcast. This was episode 76. You know where to find us. Spotify, the Inquisitive Mamba podcast, Apple Podcast, the Inquisitive Mamba podcast, YouTube, the Inquisitive Mamba podcast. It was a pleasure to record for you guys again. Kelly, it was so great to have you on the show. We got a chance to hear about your content career, working for the Mets as a TikTok coordinator, graduating college, life balancing through social media, content creation, personal life. Just amazing to hear your story again. I could listen to it 10 times over. We got a chance to hear about what you like at Starbs, what kind of food you like. So it was just so great to have you on. We even talked a little bit about finances. I don't think we've ever talked about finances on the podcast. So this was just a fun episode. So thank you so much for taking, time out of your night. You're on the East Coast, so your night. We really appreciate it. It was just a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me on, Joey. I had a blast. This was great talking to you after a couple of years, and I hope we can do it again soon.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much. And stay tuned for episode 77. We have a fun-filled weekend. I think we're going to be recording 2 episodes in Miami this weekend, so stay tuned for that. And then the week after that is even more exciting. And next Saturday, I think we have a very big guest coming on, so stay tuned for that.